Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now we'll commence with the workshop on startup, and the resource person to be conducting the workshop will be, the first resource person will be Sri Harkunwar Singh, CEO, 1:X, Bangalore. Next, it will be Madam Kenirenyo Ke Thenyo, Startup Nagaland Team Leader, Assistant Director, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Nagaland. After that, it will be followed and take over by Sri Engineer Rishabh Sethi, HOC NIT Dimapur Center, Entrepreneur and Financial Strategies.
How do we make it full screen? Can anyone help me with this while I present? Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, hi everyone. Very good afternoon, yeah. So, very interesting presentations. First of all, I'm Harkumar. I hail from this town called Yamuna Nagar. It's in Haryana. It's a very small town. I was born and brought up there. I spent my entire schooling in this town and then moved to Delhi. And I spent my last 2 years of schooling in Delhi, and then from there I did my graduation from there, and soon after my graduation I started this company 1:X. It's been approximately 3 years I have been working on it, but actively the product that we have today, that was built 1.5 years back. Why am I sharing this timeline and all? I'll get to that. And in between, I would also say that I'm very pleased that we are giving this presentation over here. Thanks for inviting me. I would want everyone to just come in front so that we can have a more interactive conversation. Everyone at the back, I would request you guys to come in front so that we can have a more engaging session over here. Thank you so much. So, are there people on camera also, on Zoom? Yeah, so shall we wait, or we can start? All right. So I would say hi to everyone who's joining online as well. So over here, I wanted to, put some basic understanding for everyone. All of you are entrepreneurs, or most of you are entrepreneurs over here who presented. I want to get a clarity with everyone that what is a startup? What actually means to build a startup? How is it different from building any traditional business? Me starting a shop outside with, maybe selling pani puri. I saw something like that on the list. I want to understand what entails being a business, what entails being a startup. How do you segregate that? What goes into it? Anyone from the audience who wants to, put their perspective to what is a startup? Anyone? Anyone would like to go and, it's just a conversation. I want to just open up minds for everyone that what exactly is a startup. Anyone wants to go? I I don't think anyone should hesitate. You all presented. You are here. You just presented. I don't know your name. Would you like to go? What is your understanding of a startup? A better way of doing something. All right. All right. Anyone else who has a different perspective or wants to give a, you know, feels that they have a better, understanding of that? All right. I'll put something together. So when you look at any business, right, it has two components. There is a value offering you're providing or value add you're giving to the customer, to the audiences. And the other part is the growth. How fast is it growing? How fast are you able to, multiply it, scale it? What is the metric you are using to, grow yourself? So now, what happens is that when I talk about the core value offering, you'll see that what you said, a better way of doing something, right? Is it 5% better than the existing means? Is it 100% better than the existing means? It is, 10x better. Like, we did something, like, just to give you an idea, when you look at Uber, you would hail cabs and everything, you would go out, you would ask, you would bargain and everything, and that's how it would happen. And there's someone who ideates and says that sitting in your room on your app, you'll book a cab and it will show up outside and you go, get into the cab and go to the destination. That's like, totally, I don't know, like 10x, 100x way of doing the way things exist in the present. So that's the first part, a product value offering that's significantly better. And the second part is growth, how fast it can penetrate the market. What are you doing that it just goes everywhere in the market more or less? In terms of percentages, if I set up a restaurant, suppose, here in Kohima, a typical restaurant, what is the projection I'll have to grow it? Like, suppose my restaurant makes 100 rupees a month. What would it be making next month? So, a typical traditional business, on an average, grows by 2 to 3% a month. Okay? If I made 100 rupees a month, that means next month I'll be making 102 rupees. The month after that, I'll be making 104 point something. The month after that, I'll be making 106 point something. And that's how I'll keep growing. That's a typical business. A startup is truly a startup when it grows by approximately 5 to 6% every week. Okay? Which actually, goes down to something like 15 to 20% a month. That is what, really is something that's changing the way the things happen in the market out there at the breakneck speed, in a nutshell. So, a traditional business basically grows, to, sum it up for you, 1 to 4% a month. A startup can, grow anywhere between 10 to 20, 25% a month. And there are extremes to everything, right? To give you an idea, there was a time Uber was growing at 45% month on month. Facebook literally grew at 200% every month. They were multiplying, okay, their user base. So that's a basic understanding, and you'll just know that if you're able to make that happen, that the type of scale you'll be able to achieve in no time. So here is what growing by 5% every week looks like. You start on week 0 with 100, and within a month, you'll be growing by 22% approximately. And then, when you look at it across months, you'll suddenly realize that while you were making 100 on month 0, you suddenly make 1100 approximately on month 12 within a year. And then suddenly, over the course of 5 years, you can already do the math. Where you started, how much did you make in year 1, and how much did you make in year, 5. So that gives you an idea what it is. There was someone who presented and said they are making in revenue 40,000 rupees in 2 months. That basically means they'll on an average make 2 lakh rupees in a first year. But you can already multiply if they make 2 lakh rupees on a year month and they are able to really scale it with technology. This is what can happen or what is possible, the multiplication of it. So that's actually the core essence of what a startup is. Now, it's very, how do you make it? And what became so different that such things are happening in no time? So if you go to the history of things, back in early 2000s, or I'll say that late 90s, in US, there was this .com, thing happening. The .com burst happened in 2000, but in 1995, everyone was just buying a website, something.com, and they wanted to be on the web. And there were other, technological advancements that were coming together. And suddenly, you would see that this really facilitated building companies that can just change the way an industry works. If you look at examples, that's how exactly it happened. Like in the last 2 decades, the world was very different in late 80s and late 90s. And in the last 20 years, like people who are like, I think 40 or 50, they would know like, how in the last 10, 15 years, things have totally evolved. And especially in India in the last 7 to 8 years, things have started coming in because we have developments like Geo. There is internet access at cheaper rates to everyone. There is access to phone. And then suddenly, the mass audience suddenly has, access to internet and phone, and they can do whatever they want to in no time. So that's a quick summary of what it is to build a startup. Now, the other interesting part to also I'll just back it with some examples that, why a typical company can't do it. Imagine I started a taxi service here in this town, okay? And I'm owning taxis and providing services, okay? I'll buy 10 taxis. Maybe, my business grows really well. I suddenly make that 50 taxis within a year. And then I try to scale it to maybe 500 taxis within 3 years, more or less, because I'm really good at business. But let me here take an example where you'll get an understanding of what tech companies can do and how you should be thinking building a startup. Okay? Uber was an idea that came to a person because he broke up with his girlfriend. Because he booked a taxi to go to a date, but the taxi didn't show up. So the girlfriend left him and he had, like this entire thing in his head that, why isn't it possible that I can see that I've booked a taxi and it is coming towards me? He had this visual in this idea, brain from this movie called Batman, where in a 2006 or 7 movie, there is this visual there that the Batman is driving the Batmobile, and on a screen, there is a map where the Batmobile is moving. And from that, this idea came in that we can show the same way that a car is coming towards me to pick me, and I'll reach where I'm supposed to reach. So these 3-4 engineers got together in a room in Silicon Valley in San Francisco, US, and decided this is what they are going to build. And over the course of next 6 months, they started building a prototype. With the prototype, at the end of 2009, they decided to test the prototype by getting 3 taxi drivers on board, placing them in different parts of the city, and with a buggy app, trying to book a cab. The buggy app works and the driver comes to them, and they suddenly felt, okay, this is what we wanted to be, and now we should build a business out of it and scale it. Over the course of next 3 years, actually 2 years, 2010 and 11, they opened their taxi service called Uber Cabs in city called San Francisco, in New York, another city in US, and in Paris. They were in 4 cities. And it had been 2 years. But they had this ambition and aggression to rule the world. And the tech that they have developed, that can be replicated seamlessly anywhere and everywhere. And while this was happening, the other thing that happened was a lot of tech entrepreneurs who were moving to these cities realized that this is an interesting and amazing idea. Why shouldn't this exist in my city? And I should have exactly the same thing in my city as well. So in 2012, there were a lot of competitors who came for Uber in all across the world. There was something called Free Now that started in Germany. There's something called Ola that started in Bangalore in India. There's something called, Grub that started in Singapore. There's something called Didi Chuxing that started in, Beijing, China. And suddenly, everyone is building an Uber for their own city and country. But Uber said, no, we want to go global. So they built where they would organize people, train them for 3 months, and send them out to launch a city. So they'll train 3 people. One will look at the acquiring 1,000 cabs on the platform in the 1 month. Someone will look at marketing that, we are launching Uber in your city. And someone will look at getting all the legalities in place because running such a business requires a lot of, compliance management. And with this, Uber was launching 1 city per day in 2012. 1 city per day with 1,000 cars in each city to start with. And that's how that business became what we know today as a $100 billion company. So it's critical for everyone to understand that what a potential a tech company holds. What is it, when you write software or when you write code, what all is possible? The age we live in, the age of information technology we live in. Why is data the new fuel? That's the overall understanding of startups. Any questions as of now? Anyone wants to ask anything? We'll be moving to the next phase of what I do and what we have done till now and how did we go about it. All right. Anything you want to ask? All right. So that's about startups and tech. I'll get to a bit about my journey and my team and what are we doing about it and what actually goes into building a company, being a founder. I'll share it purely from my experiences. There is no process or recipe I'm going to share here. So I finished my college education in 2018. I'm an architect. I did my bachelor's in architecture. I spent it had already been 7 years in Delhi for me. I came here in my 11th standard, and architecture is a 5-year degree. So in 2018, when I finished my degree, I just felt that the college education is not good enough maybe. I should be knowing more than this. And me and my co-founders, we had graduated from one of the best architecture colleges in the country. It's called School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi. Now, why was it? I compared myself to these 3 individuals who were my roommates back in my school hostel. I was in boarding school back in hostel also. All 3 of them went to these IITs and were getting these massive packages. Being computer engineers and making a lot of money. However, we weren't satisfied with the way this particular industry works. We saw that there are problems with respect to digitization in the industry, the adoption of tools in the industry, and everything. However, it wasn't like we knew what we want to build and we had full clarity. We just knew that we are not okay with we did so much hard work for 5 years, we did so well in colleges, but we are not being paid good enough, so something needs to be done about it. Not sure if we are the ones who should be doing it, but yeah, that's all what it was. So what we did was, we started with, planning few things. We started, 3 of us, so we are 4 co-founders. Initially we were just 3. 3 of us got together in one of the, like my co-founder's house. We were sitting and discussing that this is the problem and what do we do? As a pilot, what we did was, we said, okay, we'll teach people maybe some skills that will be relevant in the future, which is, digital fabrication and computer, like computational design to a certain extent, how you use algorithms and data to come up with forms and designs. This is not something that was taught to us in colleges. This is something that we learned through YouTube and on the side doing our own research. So we learned these things and we said we should be teaching. In a matter of 3 days, we bought a domain name, we made a 3-page static website which had a course curriculum which was a 3-day long workshop. Okay? We said we'll teach on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a month down the line. We made a quick brief of it and put it on the website. And started an Instagram channel where we'll just make some promotions that this is what we are doing and this is how things are happening. Now the debate was, how do we price it? Nobody taught these things, right? You created some value, you're creating some value. How much should it be sold for? Why would people pay that much money for it? Should we be registered or not registered? Can we make money in our name? Where would the taxes come together? Nothing. We were all 23, by the way. Okay, and anyway, we said, okay, forget it. Let's understand, how do we sell it? So this is this debate happening between me and my co-founder. My co-founder says it's a 3-day, full-day workshop, and I think we are teaching this. We should price it at 3,000 rupees per seat. Okay, and we think people would pay. Okay, there's this another perspective that let's make it 1,000 rupees, so that people show up and we put a great experience. I had a perspective, we should price it at 12,000 rupees per seat. Okay, and everyone just like, my other two co-founders like, you're berserk, like why would someone pay 12,000 rupees for a 3-day long workshop? It's a 3-day thing. And we are no one. We are just fresh college graduates who are teaching and we don't have a brand value. Nobody knows this company. Why would someone pay us 12,000 rupees for one seat, a 3-day long workshop? After a lot of debate, we said, okay, we'll try. If we don't get enrollments, we'll rework it, we'll figure out what we need to do. So, we took another couple of days, but in all, in a matter of 10 days, we launched everything. We had a very clean website, which had 4 pages, 3 or 4 pages. We had a course that hadn't been created, but a structure was in place, and it was a sellable course that we had created. And we had started marketing it by doing some paid ads, investing like 10,000 rupees from our pocket. Now, as soon as we launched, first 3-4 days, nothing happened. On the 5th day, one person enrolled. Okay, her name was Vrinda. I still remember. That was the first enrollment we ever received. At a ticket price of 12,000 rupees. Okay, suddenly on the 2nd day, 15 more people enrolled. On the 3rd day after that, like on the first 4-5 days, nothing happened. Then suddenly one person enrolled. The day after, 15-16 people enrolled. And the day after, 45 people enrolled. And in a matter of 4 weeks, we had more than 150 people who enrolled. Suddenly, we had like 18 lakh rupees in our bank account. Okay, and that simply gave us the confidence that this is a market validation. We are building something for which people are ready to pay money, which is a need also because there is a problem statement we have identified. And the way we are putting across also is making sense for us, right? We went ahead, we delivered these workshops. I was the mentor there, my co-founder was the mentor there. We were ourselves teaching it. While interacting with these 150 odd people, we realized that this has a potential to become a proper business. It's not like you have clarity in one go. You don't have all the clarity. All you have is an intent. We had an intent that we see a problem we resonate with. And we want to go ahead and address it. Now, meanwhile, as we address it, we want to figure out a way we make it financially viable. We make it a business that rewards everyone. How do we make that happen? And that's when we started pushing it further. We engaging that. We realized it's a countrywide problem because we were doing this offline workshop in Delhi and Bangalore. We had people who had actually come in from Northeast. We had people coming in from Kashmir. We had people coming in from the South. We had people coming in from Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan also. So this is where, we got a lot of confidence. We went ahead, we onboarded all our friends who were good at technical skills to create workshops with us. We kept creating workshops. In a matter of 6 to 7 months, we taught more than 1,000 people. 1,000 people with an average ticket size of 10,000 rupees, 12,000 rupees. We generated a revenue of more than 1 crore in a matter of 7 to 8 months. But It was exhausting. We weren't leveraging technology. I was in different city every weekend. Like, and this is like 2019, 2020. One weekend I'll be in Pune, other weekend I'll be in Bangalore, third weekend I'll be in Chennai, then I'll be in Hyderabad, then in Delhi. And my co-founders are also doing the same thing. And this is where we understood that having a product which is, very manual intensive, it's hard to scale and it's hard to sustain also. Like, obviously we have a lot of startups which are logistics driven, but they just I'm not saying you can't build it, you can definitely go ahead and build it, but it requires a different sort of effort to make that happen. Building an all software product is comparatively much easier to scale, because software can just reach anywhere and everywhere on mobile and laptop of everyone. So that was one crucial learning that happened, and while we were learning this, COVID happened, okay, early 2020. And then we had to simply, shut everything what we were doing. No more offline workshops, nothing. 2 months, we tried to analyze what do we do, because online learning wasn't our game. We had no idea about what online learning is. We hadn't seen online learning. We started learning about online learning, but we just realized there are a lot of problems with online learning. But at that time, that was the hype. Everyone was talking about online learning. This is like April or May 2020. And everyone talked about this is the future and that's how things are going to be. We tried to replicate the same workshop model, the same business model to online. It didn't work. It felt, like flat on our face in a way. Because why would someone pay a 10,000 rupee ticket when they have to sit on their home and just watch the screen, right? So one critical learning that came at this point was that to make things happen right, the business model really needs to be in place. It really needs to make sense. You really need to make money to be able to pay yourself, to pay people who are working with you, to pay whatever the logistical needs are, so that the business can, sustain itself. It can create something valuable at the end of the day for everyone. So, we got back to the drawing board. We decided we'll figure out something. We decided to launch ourselves again with a new product within 4 weeks. We worked, we put everything together, we launched it. We expected we'll get enrollments and this is how the business will come together. We hardly had 5 registrations. So we failed again. We were pretty stressed out because we didn't have money to pay the people. We didn't have revenue coming in, the income wasn't coming in, and it was a pretty difficult time overall. But we said, okay, let's get back to the drawing board again and try once more. We did that again. We failed again. We tried to launch ourselves around 4 times in a matter of 6 months, but we kept failing. But what we were doing was, we were continuously iterating. We were trying to build a different product which solves for value offering and business model both. It provides a value to the user and it solves for the business model also that is sustainable and that grows. That's a discovery process. That doesn't happen overnight. You can't think it through and it will just be there. We tried again, but this time we were just tired. There was this moment around the end of 2020 when we had no money to pay our employees, no money to pay ourselves. We had some debt with respect to marketing also. And everything was just stretched thin. We were out of energy because we had been continuously working late hours for weeks and weeks. And there was no more energy left to do it. So what we decided was, we decided to just shut everything and go for a vacation. We decided to go to Goa and party during that new year. We spent a week, of 2021 January, 2 weeks chilling, and just circling back onto what is it to learn from all the things we did in the last year. We tried so many things. In each of the things, something worked, something didn't work. So, let's do one thing. Let's give it one more shot when we go back. And this time, we'll try to just pick up whatever worked and be conscious about what didn't work for us in the past and launch our product. So in March, we just got back again. We launched for the sixth time, I remember, sixth or fifth time, I remember, again for the online product space. And this time we got traction. We started getting people to pay for the product and getting enrolled in our courses. Suddenly in March and April, we started getting again 4-5 lakhs in revenue every month, 6 lakhs in revenue every month. And we were just like figuring out more and more things. We were like 5-6 people. Now, it's like at times what happens is that a lot of, things start coming together for you automatically. We applied for this accelerator program, which is based out of Silicon Valley, US, called Y Combinator. Okay, it's one of the first accelerator programs in the world and most renowned one also. Some 20,000 startups apply every year over there. And out of that, around 1% gets selected, 200 of them. You have to write an application and then give an interview and then they make a choice and then they give you a seed round of 1 crore, okay, in capital. They give you a capital and in return take equity in the company. But yeah, it's a pretty competitive space because out of 20,000 startups, 200 get selected. And they have a very high brand value. They had initially backed startups like Dropbox, Airbnb. All these companies have been backed by them in the very early phase, and that's why they're very selective in what comes in. So while this was picking, we also got selected to Y Combinator. And this is where we realized that it's time to press the paddle and just like really get into it. What we did was, we actually laid everyone. We had no more teammates. We were just 4 co-founders together. And we had like 3 people who had joined our team recently. 6 of us, the 7th person was outside somewhere. 6 of us, even though we were in Delhi, we took an Airbnb in the outskirts of Delhi. Okay? And we paid the rent in one go for 6 months. Because we decided for 6 months, we'll stay together and work and build a product. Okay? That's all what we'll do. We'll either write code or we'll create content, and that's how we are going to bring it all together. So starting from July till November or December last year, we were just together in a house working like 16 hours a day, bringing it all together. And at that time we started catching momentum. The product started coming together because very focused work was happening. Our growth started coming together. The sales were just growing like by 20-25% every month. Okay, the number that I already shared with you. That this is the type of growth a startup should have. And it was purely tech enabled. People were enrolling for our courses from 40 different countries. Okay, not limited to India. It was just everywhere in the world. We had people who were coming in and joining in, signing up on our platform to teach from everywhere in the world. There were people who are working at top firms in London and US who want to be a mentor on the platform. And that's how, it all started coming together. So what I want to highlight for you is that while as an entrepreneur or a founder, you're building a company, the first and foremost thing is high intent. You should have very high intent. When things don't go in your favor, right, when things keep failing, the critical part is how focused are you that you want to make it happen. A lot of people leave it in between. There are thousands of startups that are, started every month here in India. 80% of them collapse in first 12 months. Another 6%, 7% of them collapse in the next 12 months. Another, 5-7%, and by the end of 4 or 5 years, just 4 or 5% startups actually sustain. So you need to understand that a very high intent and persistence is very critical to build an organization. That's what goes into it. And then, once you have very high intent that this is the problem you want to solve for, there are just 2 things you need to look into. When you don't have clarity that what is it my consumer wants or user wants and what do I tweak, just keep iterating. Keep iterating, keep learning and keep iterating. You put out something, it doesn't work, come back to the drawing board, refigure things. Go back again, figure out what's working, what's not working. till you don't discover that this is where the balance is for the business, for the product, and the value I'm adding to the ecosystem. And once you have discovered what exactly is working, consistency is the key. Show up every day, make the work happen, set goals, set targets, and make those goals happen, whatever the case is, whatever it takes to make it happen. So that's the key aspects I'll share with you guys while you guys are, starting up and building it. Apart from this, these things happen. In the year 2022, we are in December. From January to December this year, we grew every month by 35%. We have been growing by like 8 or 9% every week, more or less. And, this entire organization that we are working on, it came together in last 1.5 years. But most of the learning came in the first 1.5 years. So I say that this last 3.5 years we have spent on building this company, things didn't really work for us in the first 2 years. We just kept iterating, but we stayed persistent till we figure out what is going to work. So I hope this gives everyone a clarity that what really needs to be done. Now, moving forward, I'll just share with you guys what we are building. So, we call ourselves online cohort-based courses for designers, architects, and engineers to advance their professional growth. We are building basically a product for people to become more employable because with their skills, and they get better jobs. Most of the people in India, this is another thing to learn, right? You should have very good clarity. What is the size of the market you are addressing? How is that market coming together? We are building for architects, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. Out of every 100 people who graduate in India, 97 of them are not employable because the industry has moved really fast in the last 3 to 4 years. The way things happen in the industry are very different. And we figured this problem and said, we want to build for it. And that's how, we are going about building it. The way it happens is that we build AI tool and product where it tells you that, you are here, you are a civil engineer, you have these skills, you are paid 9 lakh rupees per year right now, but you have a potential to grow into, something else. And these are the skills that are missing in your current skills. And you just go ahead and, take a course on the platform and grow yourself very fast. So that's the basic product, and this entire product happens in a very gamified manner. When I say gamification, we all have played games like, I think, Farmville, Age of Empires, SimCity, and we just wanted to make learning fun. Even if a person is like 25-year-old, it doesn't make a difference. Everyone enjoys games. And I remember when I was like 15 years old, I used to spend like 4 hours a day playing Farmville. I would go to my neighbor's farm, I would give, harvest their crops, earn community points. That's exactly what we have done. So we are creating an ecosystem where people just learn. And why am I sharing this is because I want you guys to be more focused around software. Software can scale like anything. I don't know how to code. I never wrote a code. But, just having that understanding what software can do really, can help you make great impact. We have learners from everywhere in the world who are enrolling in our courses. So that's been like all last 1 year. It's all last 1 year. So for the 6 presentations I saw, I would say that don't limit yourself to Nagaland. You're from here, build for the space first, for sure. But have the ambition to conquer the world. What's stopping you? Right? We have developed so much the foundational stuff or ecosystem the way it exists today really gives you all the tools to do anything. We really didn't imagine. We used to do workshops in Delhi, Bangalore, hopping from city to city. And now we have everyone from, I don't even know, where our people are coming from. So that's a quick background about it. I just wanted you to introduce to my team as well while we share it. So these are my co-founders, Vipanchi, Mehul and Chaitanya. You know, we know each other for like 10 years now. You know, we were together in college. You'll know that, you know, whom you want to build a business with. Staying a solo founder is a very hard journey. You know, you need people with you who will be with you through thick and thin. When you have a co-founder, your problems become half. When you have, you know, and your happiness just multiplies. So get people along with you while you're building this, you know, idea that you have. Share profits, you'll make more profits. All right? And, you know, that's the overall team. And while we were in this journey and, you know, we got to Y Combinator, we got the platform to pitch to, you know, top investors in US and Singapore. And through that, we got, you know, Harvard University funding us. We got funded by some very interesting investors in US and UK. Some people who have been there, done that. So they are our investors. I just thought, like, you know, I'd show you guys, like, you know, who all have funded us. So on the left is Amit. Amit has, have you used this application called SlideShare? I'm sure everyone would have seen it. He's the founder of SlideShare. Okay? He built it back in 2004 when startup wasn't even a thing in India. From a basement in Delhi. And scaling it and selling it to LinkedIn. And then serving as director of operations in LinkedIn for 3 years. So, you know, they are the people who mentor us, guide us how things should be done. And obviously, you know, we are working here, how all the startups who get incubated over here, how they get right mentorship. How they, you know, get access to more exposure, what all is possible. And finally, I'll just share some pictures with respect to how we started. This is our like first month of starting 1:X. We used to work out of a dining table, 4 people. Today we are a 100 people team working out of an office in, you know, Gurgaon. But yeah, that has happened over the course of last 2.5 years approximately, 2.5, 3 years. Where, like, you know, we all had, like, you know, intensive starts. We would work all day, all night. You know, this is my co-founder Vipanchi. At like 2 a.m. we are going for a workshop to Pune in the morning. In next 3 hours we are going to catch a flight and we are just packing some materials and everything. So that's the overall background about it. I'd say that, you know, it's not an easy journey. It starts with having very high commitment. You really need to have a very good commitment. For me, when I started, I really wasn't paid at all. So I'll give you an idea, you know, where I started. So in 4th year of our college, there is an internship semester. Okay? It's a 5-year degree. In 4th year and 8th semester, you have to go out for an internship. All my friends got internship somewhere or the other and they were doing really, really well. Somehow, I happened to get internship in Spain. Okay, I applied, I got in, I was very excited. But my visa got rejected. Not once, twice, but thrice. So I couldn't do my internship. So what I did was, I decided to work at a startup. I worked there, it was just picking up. I learned a lot, I worked with the founders directly. I kept working with them during my college also for the next 2 semesters. Because I was learning a lot anyway while this was happening. My college ended. Everyone from my college got a job, more or less, like all my close friends got a job which was paying them, you know, good, nice, handsome salary. The startup I was working at, it somehow didn't pick up. It couldn't raise capital, it didn't have money to pay me a salary. I said, I'd still work. I'll work during the day, I'll do some freelancing during the night and make the ends meet because I don't want to ask money at home. I'm a graduate now. So, you know, I would show up at 9 a.m. in the morning at this office. I would work there till like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. also. Go back, do some work till late in the night, get that, you know, income for me so that I can sustain. And that's how I worked for the next 8 and 9 months. But why I did that was because I was learning a lot. I was spending time with engineers, I was spending time with product managers, product designers who could teach me a lot. And that's where, you know, I had a lot of good understanding of what goes into building a startup.
So just know that, like, if you are very clear what you want to go and get, there are ways to get it. You need to compromise, but just know that it's a patience related game, and how much risk you want to take, the sort of future you envision for yourself. That also, you decide and you work towards it. But it's all about, setting goals, breaking down that dream into goals, breaking down those goals into executable plan, and making it happen one after the other. So yeah, that's all, guys. That's all what I wanted to share. Any questions? I'm happy to answer. Thank you all. You want to ask anything? Anyone wants to ask anything?
Let them go ahead first.
Please ask him, when we get a chance like this.
Okay, so tell us the process, So when you started, it was very small, right? Then you told that, month or 2 month time span, you increased the students joining your platform. That too, without having any sort of a credibility at that particular moment. So guide us all on, we are also in a similar position right now. We are trying to get into the market where we don't have any credibility. Yeah. So how can we take, right now, to be very frank, getting even 300 rupees, 500 rupees from a participant, from a customer becomes difficult. At the same position, you could easily manage to get 12,000 rupees per head. So what is something that we are doing wrong and what you did right that eventually got you into this position?
So, there is a saying, right? It says, when you are in the early stage of company, do things that don't scale, okay? But plan for scaling it, okay? What do I mean by that? I was myself serving each customer. I was talking to customer on phone, helping them out, running around, getting that material shop myself, going that. But I always had this vision that how am I going to, be in every country tomorrow, in every city maybe tomorrow. What's going to take to, get there? So while, you should be, strict with your vision, where you want to be flexible with your plan. And in early stage, you need to do things that don't scale. Talk to each customer yourself, understand what did they like, what could have been made better, how should we do it, what else, because customer is God. If you are able to solve for 100 people who not just like your product but love your product, you have it. You just need to find those 100 customers who love your product. That's where you have figured out sort of a product that would go for the masses eventually. So the intent should be around that. Now, obviously, at what cost should it be priced at? Price discovery is a different thing to understand. You need to be understanding the market, what's happening, what is my product unique in, how do I position it in the market, and that's where you narrow down what should you price it at. In today's day, we have courses which are priced at 3.5 lakh rupees. People buy it. Okay? So it's always a discovery process. Certain things, can't be sold at more than, 50 rupees. Certain things, it can be sold at even 50 lakh rupees. So you just figure out where does your product lie. And what happens is, as a rule, what I have learned and figured is, when you give a price to a product, right, the right balance is when you find 10 people who are interested in your product, but only 7 people end up buying it. That's the right. If 10 of them buy it, that means you are underselling yourself. If less than 7 people buy it, that means you are overpriced. So that's a market validation, the way you go about it. So that's a fundamental thumb rule that is used, that where the pricing should be. So you shouldn't be underselling yourself. You are losing out on business. You shouldn't be overselling yourself. You're losing out on business. This is where the balance lies. Anything else? Rest we'll maybe discuss it in formal conversations during lunchtime. Anything else anyone wants to say?
One question.
Yeah, sure.
You said that right after you launched your product,
Yeah,
you got one customer, right?
Yeah.
After that, slowly it got increased.
yeah.
So what type of marketing did you use in order to reach out to the customers?
So yeah, I'll say that be creative and do whatever it takes that fits in your plan. I'll tell you what do I mean by it. If I'm selling a product that is 100 rupees for example, and I've decided I'm not going to spend more than 10 rupees to get this 100 rupees in my ecosystem. You can do all possible things with that 10 rupees that will get you 100 rupees in the system. So that clarity needs to be in place. To give you an idea, we did all sorts of different things to discover it. We made posters, we created a database of 500 colleges, and we sent a poster to be put on a notice board of all colleges. Okay, we curated a customized letter for each director of the institute. With that, and a poster was packed and couriered to each institute across the country. We did digital marketing. We even, did flyers in college institute during fest time. We would give napkins which would have our, product in that. So be creative as much as you can be, and, just make sure it's within the budget. You need to be smart about it. Where do all the ends meet at the end of the day? And you get the result what you're looking for. So yeah, that's another thing. All right, guys. Then thank you. Yeah.
Sir, you listened to all our pitches, right?
Yeah.
All of us who did it. So tell us something like majority of them in which direction they should start from now on. What I mean to say is I believe so they are still confused with the way they should work more on the marketing, they should work more on customer acquisition, or what direction should they start off with. Because I'll give you a simple fact that we all right now, in our position right now, we all started with limited funds. So with that limited funds, we cannot get the required skilled person, we cannot get the required marketing, what has to be done. So how shall we go forth with that?
I don't have a generalized answer for this. I think every startup is unique. There are certain startups which can be monetized upfront. There are certain companies which can't be monetized and will be monetized in the future eventually. So I think the basic rule that can be said is that you need to plan well. Now, if capital is the requirement initially to kickstart and build something, I think that becomes a challenge in itself. For us, we really didn't need any capital to start with. We were planned like this, the 2-3 things we had to do: put a basic website, plan the course. We had the intellect to make that happen ourselves. So we did it ourselves. We didn't have costs to incur. So all I would say is that, in your case, if capital is for sure a need, you suppose, you're saying you want to build a satellite that goes out tomorrow and it's a hard technology you want to work towards that would require initial capital. I think you need to be really, clear with how confident you are that this is going to happen. The capital would be needed. If you want to pitch in some money from yourself, from your friends and families, from some VC, I think the active reach out is. So I'll share one more story over here. When we didn't have any capital at the end of the day and things weren't working, we decided to reach out to investors. Okay? Now, I didn't know how to pitch. I didn't know anything. How capital is raised, what equity financing is, how do you do it? All we did was, I just put together all possible lists on the internet, which talks about who are the, best angel investors in the country, and figured out their, you need to be Jugaadu again. There are plugins which give you their email IDs, which gives you their phone numbers also. Find them and write to them. People will reply. I created a database of more than 700 investors. Okay, these are individuals who write you a check of 5 to 10 lakh rupees, even 15 lakh rupees. And I wrote them like one mail and then second mail and then third mail. Most of the reply comes on 6th follow-up. That's what data says. I wrote them really till like, 8th or 9th follow-up. And, few of them did write to me, stop spamming my mailbox and this is all crap and all that. But I got what I wanted also. So you need to be shameless as a founder. Yeah, so you need to be, all in there, you need to get it done, so go ahead and get it done. You find the people who see value in you. Not everyone will see that. And there was this time when I was raising capital that we would pitch to like 20 investors a day. I had created this pitch deck which had 15-20 slides, and while I pitch it will take 20 minutes selling what my company is. I would make 20 such pitches each day, every day for approximately 1.5 months. So that's how we pitched approximately. So that's what got the money together. So it all gets down to how badly do you want it, and just stay at it, whatever the case is. You'll find people who support you, give you some backing, who'll see what you are doing, want to, and you'll meet those people on your journey, whatever the case is. So that's all. Thank you guys.
Thank you, sir, for sharing an insightful view on the dynamics, challenges, and reward of being an entrepreneur. Now, in order to get a better understanding on the concept of Startup Nagaland, an overview of Startup Nagaland will be briefed by Kenyo, Startup Nagaland team leader. So, ma'am, can you kindly take your time?
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start my presentation, I would like to thank our speakers here, our resource persons, Mr. Singh, Mr. Shah, for coming all the way here to share your knowledges with us. Finding problem statements, creating solutions to these problems is something that startups do. Creating business models, scaling on them is something that we are aware of, and I think that is something that Mr. Singh has also shared with us about. And it's always nothing better than the startups themselves telling us about their journey, the challenges they face, how they succeed, how they start, how they fail. So I think that's something that the startups should learn from them. I am a government servant, so I can only tell you about the policies and the programs that my department does with regard to startup. But when we have these speakers with us, I really encourage startups to take maximum advantage of these workshops and learn, because nothing like them telling you about the journeys. Yes. So we all know Startup India was launched in 2016, but our state took some time to take off. And consequently, in 2019, we finally had the policy, the Startup Nagaland policy, where our aim was to accelerate and promote local startups in the state, to encourage them to have this culture of innovation, creativity, to promote entrepreneurship, and also to create jobs and contribute to the state's economy. We aim to at least facilitate the growth of at least one startup per district, with a focus on establishing innovative made in Nagaland products. We want to also raise funds by to inviting investors. That is something that we are planning to do with collaboration from organizations like CII, IDAN. We have a lot of things in the pipeline. The recent CSR conclave has given a lot of visibility to the startup program. We have companies interested in investing in our startups. So we look forward to creating a sustainable and encouraging ecosystem for the state, for the startups of the state, through value chain, through handholding, mentorship support, funds, investors, etc. Some incentives of the policy are GST reimbursement and seed funding, incubation offers. We have also incentives for women entrepreneurs, women startups. 25% of the funds reserved for startups is reserved for women startups. We have the marketing and promotion assistance. We do have innovative challenges. This is one of them, where through the incubators, where we invite young innovative minds to come up with solutions, ideas, POCs, business models to compete and win cash prizes through these innovative programs. One of them, I think they took us. The past few months, we've had a series of innovative challenges, hackathons, where a lot of technology startups got prizes. We had some of them from technology background, where they had a solution to the parking problem in the state. So they were one of the winners under the hackathon, and they also won cash prizes. A department supported them by procuring their app, and their app is used outside the premises of our department. So this is we also plan to encourage other departments also to come on board the Startup Nagaland program to encourage and promote startups through ways of procurement, policies and programs under the respective departments. We currently have, we forgot to include one incubator here. Just recently we've signed with one incubator called Nagabot. So we now have 5 incubators with us, and we are proud to also say that currently there are around 100 incubators spread through all these 5 incubators. We have 59 startups who are registered under the startup portal, and a few of them are already creating a revenue generation of around 3 crores per year. They've also created an employment of around 200 plus for the people in the state. So we all know government is not going to create jobs anymore. So entrepreneurship is something that we want to focus on to encourage students also, and youth in general to take up entrepreneurship, become startups, become job creators rather than job seekers. Yes, so an important component and a unique one under our startup policy is the entrepreneurship development cells. This is to encourage students in a learning stage to take up entrepreneurship as a career, and we've done a pilot project in 5 schools, and these ADCs have been instrumental in making the students realize that they can take up entrepreneurship as a career. We've had series of challenges for them, and also giving them little money to start businesses, and these EDCs have encouraged them immensely. So we plan to also introduce EDCs in the rest of the schools in the districts and colleges as well. One of the things we did during the pandemic was we had a lockdown challenge for aspiring innovative youth, where we were surprised to also see a lot of young innovative minds come up with innovative ideas, and the department had also funded a lot of these ideas. We have these, incubators. We have mentors under the respective incubators, and still counting. We plan to have our resource persons here to be a part of our mentor network, and we're eager to have you on board as well. So these are some of the activities that we did. We had a series of boot camps, awareness programs across the state, signing of MOUs. We've had, the Startup India Nagaland Yatra in collaboration with Startup India. These are the EDCs, pictures of some EDC sessions that went on, and the hackathon that happened, and the young kids with innovative ideas, solutions who won the challenges. We've also recently had the Indian Navy on board we are going to sign an MOU with them where they are going to scout for young innovative minds, where they will fund their business ideas, convert them into business models, and also procure their products. We've had the startup competition where the first funding series where a lot of startups competed, and some of them won, prizes under this challenge. So this is brief. This is a graph of the 59 startups registered. As you can see, they're all spread out. Yes, of course, most of the startups are focused in agri, but we do have startups spread out in tourism, transport, textiles, technology, retail, professional, commercial, education, automotive, as you can see. I think the pandemic has taught us that, creating businesses has no limit. With technology-based startups, digital marketing in place, you cannot confine yourselves to a certain sector anymore. So we look forward to encouraging more startups, inviting more investors in. We plan to have more workshops, more business compliance workshops, investors meet where startups will be given a chance to pitch and also get funding from them as well. So yeah, I end my presentation with this, and thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing the various startup policies and also opportunities for the upcoming startups. Now, I would like to call upon Engineer Michelle Sethi, HOC NIT Dimapur Center, Entrepreneur and Financial Strategist, to please come up and take your time.
Good afternoon all. How are you all doing now? I was just waiting for the results to be out. Waiting for me to go fast? But anyways, no problem. First of all, congratulations to all who all have put up your presentation. You know what I want to say you all? You are at least better than the rest of those who are not even ready to discuss, showcase their idea to the people. So till the time my presentation comes up, I just want to share you something, okay? Recently, we were discussing something and I got to know that, some people are scared of presenting their ideas in front of a group of people. Are you all scared about it or not? And if you are, what is it that is doing that to you? You know what I mean to say through that? People are scared of the fact that somebody else can copy your idea. To be very frank, that thing can be copied even after you have launched it. Yes, we do have first mover advantage, but it is not the case in everybody. For example, Yahoo came in first, right? But now who is the market holder now? Google, right? So that does not mean that, being the first mover advantage will always help you. So don't be scared of all those things. Just be ready to showcase yourself.
I would like to add something while you're picking up that topic. I read it somewhere and I have always stuck to it. So I'm an architect, okay? So we make building designs and everything. So while I was in college, people would copy each other's designs and everything. But we always used to say to ourselves that you shouldn't be scared of the day when people would copy your idea. You should be scared of the day when people stop copying your idea. That means, it doesn't hold the value anymore. If people are copying it, that means, you're doing something great. So discuss ideas and share them as much as you can.
So that's what I mean, perception. I'll be discussing about it in my PPT as well, but the perception has to be in a positive intent. Yeah. So, again, good afternoon all. So, just to all who don't know me, I am engineer Rishabh Sethi. I am born brought up from Dimapur itself. I did till my 10th, I was here in Dimapur. After my 10th, I left for my further studies. So, I'll just give you a brief introduction. So, class 10, I was a state topper in 2014 from Molotari school. Then I pursued my 12th from Delhi. So, as per the results which I got, I was also Nagaland state topper then also. Then I pursued my engineering. So, we had to give this JEE exams, right? I believe many of you might have heard about it. So, I was 2016 state topper for that as well. Now I'm back to the States, just trying to give out whatever best possible way I can give back to the society. To be very frank, it was very easy for me to stay back in Delhi, live an easy life, and I could have earned easily a good amount of money. But still I chose the decision to come back, to do something back for the society. So, talking about the slide, what all do you see? What do you see right now over there on the screen? Can you see all of those? These are the places where these startups were launched. I could not add one more, but it was his also. So that's why I have brought somebody who is more relatable to you, because many a times, okay, I am talking about Nagaland context, many times people come up to us and say, sir, we don't have the money to start it off. We don't have the means to start it off. Right now, I can show you a few examples. But they all say it's easy to say it, but prove it. So we have the proof right now. We have a proof who is standing in front of us, who is ready to share whatever, you want to learn from him. And eventually, I'll tell you something, okay, whatever you can learn from other people's experiences, it will help you out to move faster in your life. That is one such thing that we need to understand. So if he is here with us, trying to grab whatever you want, whatever experience, whatever technical skills, whichever way you want to grab things from it, it's your opportunity to grab it. Now I am an engineer, so my focus will be more on the technological part. One good thing which I noticed about each of the startups, you know what? We are moving towards the digitalization. Everybody is aiming with the intent with using IT in their respective fields. Right? But the question is, how many of you are personally using, you are familiar with those IT skills? Like I'll ask you from the go-givers, which all IT skills you used to develop your product?
Basically open source only. So
I have done a research on your company as well. It's based on WordPress, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So these are not talking about this today. Okay, I did it long back when I was new to Dimapur, I would say, and I came back. So that is what when I said to all of you, do your competitor study, because directly jumping into any market will not work out for you. You need to study. You need to understand what the market is requiring. So that time your company was highlighted, so I got to know about it. I gave it a study, what all technology you are using, how you are doing. I did not tell you in front of the pitch, but I'll tell you something, okay? I actually applied for a job in your portal. I actually filled in the data, but I never got a call back. That is just a personal thing, okay? And that has nothing to do with the judging and all. I did apply for that, and that is where I can give you a hint that you can work on that. I filled the form over there, and I was expecting a call back. Because that is how, because we need to follow up. The situation where we are in right now, we need to follow up on a regular basis, keep in touch with our clients. In fact, when I was talking to sir also, since we are both from the educational background, he is also teaching, we are also in the teaching background. So I was discussing with the same way, how we can keep our alumni, our students on a regular basis connected with us. Can you tell me something? Aren't you interested to know what your school, what your college is doing right now? Right? We want to keep ourselves updated with our respective schools, colleges. So the same thing, we can also plan it out. Now, can you see few logos on the screen? Few startups. I have listed out few startups. Ola, Oyo, Paytm. I believe everybody must have heard of them, right? How many of you have heard about Zeppe, Woopler and Stayzilla? Anybody out here? These were also startups which were launched with the same intention like you all, let's say, to become a unicorn. But the journey of being, of starting up, it's not that easy. As HK sir has also pointed out, you have to give everything to it. That's what I said to one of the participants as well. There is nothing risk-free. If you are doing it risk-free, that means you are opting for an easier path for you. Don't opt for the easier path. If you are getting into something, give everything to it. Put your heart and soul into it. Because once you do that, it will not allow you to have peaceful nights. If you are eager to get more and more, you will be ready to work in every which way possible so that you can have a better company, better results, outputs. So, as you see, those Zeppe, Woopler, Stayzilla, they were also startups, but we all don't know about them. So the same cases, what happens is we are all aware of the success stories, but we don't know the unsuccessful stories. So to put it straightly, failure is a painful pill that we don't want to consume. But you know what happens with failure? It is the best teacher for all of us. Failure lets us understand which product is going to work in the market and which is not going to work in the market. And failure is what you need to understand, like what was something that you did wrong. I'll give you a small hint, okay? How many of you are aware of Nokia? How many of you? I believe everybody knows about Nokia. Does anybody use Nokia right now? Why do you think so? What actually happened? In 2011-2012 period, I remember Nokia was the big thing in the market. I remember one of my relatives, at that point of time, she bought a Samsung phone. So I replied back to her, why Samsung? Go with Nokia. But today, at the same time, if I see anybody using Nokia phone, my reply will be that. So that is how the IT has evolved. They did not change with the revolution that was coming in. They were still persistent with the fact that they want to do with keypad phones, let's say. So that is what we need to understand. We have to evolve with time. Our products, our startup has to evolve with time. That is something which I mean to say is we need to digitalize our startup, our idea. There are two benefits. One is you are keeping yourself with change in time. Second thing is when you make your product digital, it has a massive market. Right now, I'll give you a small example. I have an institute, I have an offline institute that is running right now in Dimapur. Now tell me something, what is the market that I am catering to right now? Can I, at the maximum level, can I say I am catering to whole of Nagaland? That is the maximum level, okay? But if I bring that same product digital, then I can cater to not just national level but even international level. What HK sir just said, that he is available in 35 countries. I am available, to be very frank, in 2 districts. Dimapur, Kohima, so to say. So that is our perception. Right now, this is the problem that I am facing with Nagaland is, we are all thinking in terms of Nagaland. Did I not pinpoint out few of you? You are thinking about just Nagaland level or you are talking about global perspective. It's good, you start small, but ultimately your idea has to be in a global scale. How other companies are performing, that you need to take insight of, how your competitors are doing, and how you can bring some separate, different thing into your product so that eventually your product is what people are looking forward to. Now, what is the best advice you have ever received? Anybody wants to say anything on that? What is the best advice you would like to give to anybody? Let's frame it this way. Any specific thing? Do this, do that. that, sleep well, sleep 8 hours a day, eat healthy food. All these are good advices, but you know what I want to tell you all? Invest in yourself. Because this is something which does not have any expiry date. This is something which nobody can steal away from you. And right now I can see all of you are very, very young. And to be very frank, if I put it, today at present, we all are nobody. Right? So don't be, shy. Just be ready to do whatever is required to improve you. Understood? So just to give you a small insight on the Indian startup ecosystem. Now I believe everybody is aware of the so many startups that are coming in the Indian startup ecosystem. So if I tell you that way, technically we are the second largest ecosystem in the world, and one of the main reasons why it has gone up to us is that 65% of the youth of the population of India is between the age range of 25 to 25. So we are a very young country, that is why we are working towards in those directions. We are open to any kind of changes that is coming into the market. But as I told you, I am showing you the good part, but there is a bad part of it also. So there is a small case study which was done. So I just pinpointed out the main line. What is it saying is 90% of the startups, they fail within 5 years of their inception. 90% of the startups. Do you want to be among those? No, right? So that's why before you enter into the market, understand properly your competitors, your addressable market, and the survey it. And survey it how you want to build a project, build your product in the market. So why the boom in startup culture in India? Just pinpointed out a few things. There's a pool of talent that is available. The cost of setting businesses in India is comparatively low. Government is also giving a boost to all those startups who aspire to become one. We are also all familiar with the different technologies that are coming up and variety of funding options available. So this is what has happened in India. Now let's talk about Nagaland perspective. Which of all these options are not available to us? Do we lack the talent? Do we lack the talent? No. The cost of setting a business here is also low. We can easily start a business. There is not too much into it. Once you grow enough, that's a separate phase. But right now, we can easily start a business. Government, Madam herself, she is here. She is also ready to. The government is also ready to help us out in every which way possible. Next is what? Technology. We are also ready to take up all those technologies, whatever is necessary to get our products built. Lastly, funding options are now also coming in slowly. So the startup ecosystem which is prevalent in India, slowly this thing will also come to Dimapur, Nagaland. So it's up to you whether you want to become the part of that revolution or not. So I just pinpointed out three, what according to me is the three biggest enemies of our success. First of all, I have noted down is comfort zone. Let me give you an example, okay? Today, this competition was such a good competition for all those aspirants, right? But still, how many turned up? Can you understand that? Why? I received few calls from some of the participants. They are saying, we don't want to come up to Kohima. Why is it that you don't want to come up to Kohima? What is the harm in pitching in front of people? I cannot do public speaking. Why you cannot do public speaking? Try to learn that. So this is what I aimed with is comfort zone. We all need to get out of our comfort zone. We all need to work hard to get things done. Next is what? Learn helplessness. Right now we were just discussing with madam. She was just giving me one example. That there was a conference going over. So one participant just came up to her and told her that I did not get the chance to pitch. When it was an open platform for anybody and everybody to come over and showcase their points. So this is what we call as learned helplessness. He could have easily pitched into it. He could have easily get his work done. But he did not intend to do it. Obviously, you have to, do something extra. You have to be jugadu. We Indians, we are very popular for being jugadi. And that is what I believe it's a necessity nowadays when it comes to an entrepreneur. You need to know how to get the work done. It's not possible for us to know all the skills. Agreed? Can I know accounting? Can I know web designing? Can I know app development? Can I know how to be a good speaker? All of these things are not possible for one person to know. But you just need to know the right person who can get the work done. Understood? Last one is what? Path of least resistance. We all try to look forward towards an easier path to get our work done. You know what happens? Whenever you look for an easier thing, it does not last long. When you work hard for it, you know the effort that you have put into it. So that is how you will get it. So this is just a small chart. I have just posted it up here for you to understand whether you want to, look into it about all those things, about the comfort zone and all. So I'll just take you a small journey of a startup, okay? First of all, how does a startup begin? As HK sir had also asked, what is a startup? To me what I say, a problem, a solution to a problem is where it's your first step towards the startup. That is what is the ideation phase. Once you come up with a solution to the problem, that is what is the idea. Okay, this is a problem, this is the solution to it. So that solution is now the idea which you need to work upon. Once you know the idea, now what is to do is, you have to concept it out, you have to write it down. You have to build the proper portfolio regarding that idea, what all things you will be solving. And bring it down on paper, because once you personally understand the solution, then only you can come up with a product for that relevant problem. The next process is what? You get your company established. Whether it's a private limited company, whether it's a sole proprietorship, whatever it is. But you get it registered. Because that is the norms of our country, right? Next is what? You start doing your brand management. Ultimately, what I have seen is, right now, the market has become so competitive that obviously one or the other competitor might be there in a similar domain to what you are doing. So you need to establish your brand in such a way that even you can yourself showcase, highlight, get highlighted. So that is what you need to focus on after that. Then is what? We get into the development of your product. Do the market survey. Make prototypes. Get it surveyed, get it alpha tested, beta testing and all. So that you can come with a product which is well versed and can relate to the individuals who are in need of those products. Another one is that when your product starts to grow, we need to get it protected as well. So this comes into play that copywriting and intellectual property rights, patenting all your necessary code or whatever product that you have developed. Lastly, once you are done with all those things, you can easily go into the market and launch your product. If you go through all these processes, what I believe is, it will give you a more higher chances of your startup being successful, because you have done all the relevant things which are required to get done beforehand. Now, since I am talking in regards to Nagaland, let's discuss this thing among you all. Tell me something, according to you, what all are the strengths of Nagaland? What all we inherit from our ancestors? Can I say, do you all agree with me or not on the fact that Nagaland has a very good sense of taste, fashion? Can you agree to it or not? Why I am telling you that is because my friends from Delhi, Guwahati and Calcutta, they are ready to come to Nagaland just to do shopping from this Hong Kong market and new market. Why is that thing happening? Just imagine that people from Delhi, they are coming just to buy products from Dimapur. So there is something which is good about us. So what I am coming to right now is finding your niche, basically. Because see, I'll tell you something, okay? We need to find that particular skill set which is inbuilt in us. Understood? For example, others can be what, in Nagaland, everybody can speak English, fluent English. Isn't it true or not? And why I come to this solution is, why I came to that point is that, because we also do placement agency related work. And many a times I get calls from Delhi and all, they are looking forward to people from northeastern states just because of the fact that because they can speak proper English, which is not so prevalent when it comes to North India. And South India, what happens, their accent becomes a problem. I believe everybody knows that. So these are some of the geographical benefits that we have, which we need to tap into and explore and get into these markets. Another important, we have got medicinal plants, right? We are rich in medicinal plants. Then one of our startup also was here related to handicrafts. That is the rich culture of our society, that we can build all those handicrafts, which is different from the rest of the world. And specifically when she also noted down about waste management and all those things, which the society, which the world is looking forward to right now. So this rich and unique culture of ours can also be monetized. Now it's on our mind how we can monetize it. It's upon us how you want to monetize this culture. Next is what? Organic farming. I believe all of you are aware of how many we are exporting nowadays. What are things we are exporting from Nagaland? Anybody, any answer? What are things we are exporting from Nagaland as of now? Mainly coffee, right? Nagaland coffee is in huge demand, specifically in Middle East. Then we are doing organic farming for pineapples and all. I know one of my friends who is dealing in pineapples. We are also very prevalent in the spices industry. There is a huge demand from Nagaland related to spices. So these are few tapped markets, which, if I put it that way, geographically we inherit that. Tell me something else what we can do into it. What are other strengths of Nagaland? Anybody who wants to put in any other points? What I mean to say is, we need to find out the strengths. Once you find out the strength, you need to find out how to market the product. But first step is to get the strength. As I was discussing with you all, find your niche. Find something which you believe you are the best at. Find something you believe you are the one who can deliver it. Once you get that, then work on working on a prototype or getting to a solution. And as all of you, many of you pitched out here, one problem which I faced with many of you was, you were all thinking with respect to Nagaland. I discussed with you all also. So think global. Try to get your product in global scale. Okay? I don't know. Now, how many of you have heard wannabepreneur? Have you heard of wannabepreneur? Have you heard of it or not? What is wannabepreneur? So nowadays, this special culture has evolved that everybody wants to become an entrepreneur. Okay? Because they feel it's being cool. It's cool to become an entrepreneur. Isn't that true or not? Do you agree to me on that or not? So don't try to become a wannabepreneur. Because when you talk about entrepreneur, it is a 24/7 service. It is a 24/7. I mean it when I say that. If you are ready to put in everything, if you are ready to put in 24/7 of your time into getting your product delivered, then you can call yourself as a true entrepreneur. Otherwise, I would rather frame you as wannabepreneur who wants to act cool in the society, show off to the society that you are doing something. And eventually, these are the reasons why those 90%, majority of those startups fail. I have seen many a times people call, you need a huge amount of money to start your business. Do you all agree to me on that? Do we need a huge amount of money to start our own startup? So, from a technical perspective, I've just listed out few points, few softwares which are openly available free of cost. I don't know how many of you have heard about it, but I'll just name it out, okay? Some of you might be facing problem with regards to what startup name should be given. So for that, Namelix is available. Namelix is available. Just go there, put in what all your key words are. Let's say placement, Nagaland, all those things, whatever you want to put it in, you just put it in. Then with the help of AI, they'll come with solutions to your problem. They will come with the names based on AI. So you can eventually take a name from there. Next is what? Designing. Many times I have heard people don't know, I don't know Photoshop, I don't know this, that. Now, a very simple version of all these things is Canva. Let me please note down this thing that these are for very initial phases, okay? Once you start to grow, then obviously you need to switch to better versions. But in your initial phases, you can start with all these things are available for free. Then to plan your social media marketing, you can use of Hype Fury. Email marketing, you can use MailerLite. For links, for getting out to influencers and all, you can use rebranding. Developer, if you want to find developers, you can get from Typefree. Payments, Gumroad is available for us to get our payments done online. Automations, Zapier is available. Scheduling, Calendly is available. Copywriting, Copy AI is there for us. Proofreading, Hemingway is all available to us. But these are all available to a certain extent. But in your initial days, these are going to help you out a lot when it comes to doing all these kinds of requirement stuff.
I don't know how many of you have used this, but maybe you are paying, you are using other sources to pay and, getting your work done. So these are some other options that you can opt for. Next, what I have added is
perspective of life. What I mean to say through that is have an optimistic approach to whatever you are planning to do. Many a times, what happens when I've realized with people is they come to us and this is the problem, that is the problem. But eventually, the problem is you are focusing on the problem, you are not focusing on the solution. So that is what I'm trying to say is change your perspective. For example, this glass. How do you want to frame this? If I ask you to frame it in one line, what would you say to this glass? It's a... Sorry? Anybody, how would you frame this? Just a small hint, okay? Just a basic, I would say, logic that I want to come up with this. Can I say this is half empty? Or can I say this is half full? With which statement I am being optimistic? Half full. Understood? So if you work towards in this direction, it will help you out because startup is not, bed of roses. It is bed of cactuses. It will take time, everything takes time, and eventually, if you are working in the right direction, if you are putting in your effort, you will surely succeed in some part of your life. Now, just added few points, just in case, new skills that if you want to acquire, then you can learn graphic designing, you can get into digital marketing. This is one such thing where, it will eventually help your startup as well. Because what I have understood right now is, when it comes to marketing, digital marketing has impacted a lot in comparison to what traditional marketing used to be. Before we used to spread out, pamphlets and all those things we used to do. So in comparison to that, digital marketing comes out to be a cheaper solution with a better ROI. How many of you know about ROI? What is it?
Return on investment.
Yes. So basically, if you have invested, let's say I am investing 1,000 rupees on my digital marketing. So if I am able to generate a business of 10,000 rupees from that, do you think it's worth my while? Right? So it's worth it that way. Now another important aspect that you can learn on is website development. Because website development is one such thing that everybody has understood that in the days to come, websites, mobile applications, all these things are going to be very much prevalent in our day-to-day lives. We are much more comfortable in handling. How many hours do you use your phone? How many hours do we use? Do you think our usage of our phones with time will increase or decrease? Simple. It's going to increase. So that is something which you can point out, learn further. Video editing and hardware and networking. In regards to Nagaland, these are two skills which Nagaland is facing a lack of skilled people. People ask me for such people who are good at video editing and hardware and networking, which I am not able to supply them. So you can either start a firm which does this kind of a solution, or you can learn all the skills at to earn a high paying job. Do you all want to be successful? You all want to be successful? You know what I say? To become a successful person, I say to all, you have to be greedy. Don't take it in the wrong sense, okay? What I'm trying to say through this is, let's say I am earning 1,000 rupees today. So tomorrow I want to earn 2,000. Next day I want to earn 5,000. Next day I want to earn 50,000, lakh crore, something like that. Right now what I realize with Nagaland is we are happy with the 10,000, 15,000 that we are earning. But to get into that phase where your income gets multiplied, you have to upgrade yourself. Upgrade with the right skill set, upgrade with the right knowledge, so that it eventually, you are useful to the industry. Another thing which is missing, which I believe so, is career orientation. We are not career oriented now. Tell me something, have you ever realized that your friends or your colleagues, they are looking forward towards more on the certification rather than on the fact that what is there in that course? Do you agree to that or not? Like what I have realized is, what I have seen is, people want to go for DCA certification, Diploma in Computer Application, but they don't know what is there inside that curriculum. They are happy with the fact that they have that certificate in their hand. And we at HK sir, we were just discussing the fact that in the days to come, all these certificates and all will become useless. Everything will become skill oriented. Right now also, if you come up to me for an interview, I don't look forward to your certificates. I need to see your skill set. I'll give you a simple example, okay? Let's say there is one person who is from Harvard. The other one person is class 10 fail. Right? I give them both a task. Class 10 fail could get the work done. Harvard pass out could not get it done. Whom am I supposed to hire? The person who got the work done, right? It doesn't matter to me he is from Harvard or whatever degree he is holding. Ultimately, what matters to me is whether my problem is solved or not. That is it. Another thing, which I have interacted with many of the startup founders, I've understood one thing from them. They say, for a startup to be successful, it's just 10% talent and 90% persistence. We have to be consistent with what we are trying to do. Just don't look forward to be perfect in a particular way. Just try your luck, give your best, whatever you want to do, and be persistent enough. Try it. If something fails, come up with some other solution to it. That also fails, come up with other solution to it. Give your best, give your try. Now, this brings me to the very end of what I need to say. But today I am going to give you all a clock to all your problems. How many of you say, I'll get the things done later on? So this is supposed to be your clock. When are you going to get your work done? Now. When are you going to learn your new skill set? Now. And if you want to be successful, this clock is what is going to help you out to further proceed in your life. So that brings me to the very end of the talk that I want to do with you all. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand or go ahead with the question. No questions? No problem. Thank you all. Best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge, your experience, and encouragement by redefining the concept of failure. Now we have come towards the end of the workshop, but before that, we will proceed with the declaration and prize distribution of the participating teams.
We have come to the end of the program, and then after before that, the most awaited event that we are going to have now is the prize distribution and announcement of this program, that is TECHNOVATE 2022. Like as I said earlier, 17 have registered and out of that 10 were selected. Then out of the 10, we have 5 prizes, that is 2 consolation, 3rd, 2nd and 1st. So, as I call upon the names, I request the participants to come and then receive their respective prizes. Okay, let's start. Yes, I request okay, now I call upon Sir Daniel to come up on the stage and then give away prizes to the 2 consolations. And the first consolation is VAT. Yeah, it is true online, so congratulations to VI. And then next consolation is Ujala. Okay, they are getting 10,000 each. The consolations, and we are giving away the certificates now. Okay. And then the payment and all, which we are supposed to pay, we will be paying online. Okay, so after this event is over, kindly submit your account details. Then after that, we are into digital payment only. We don't go for cash payment and all. So even the price will be done online. Okay, so once everything is announced, you are requested to kindly give us the account details if you want us to pay into your account. Okay, now the third prize is Scholar Bay. Now I request Sir Rishaf to hand over the prizes to the certificates to the second. Heartbeat increasing only. Okay, the second place goes to Grow Plan. I think they are from different.
They are from
online. So we are left with 2. That is Nagaland Classified and then Go Giver Recruitment Agency. So for announcing this, I'd like to call upon Sir Har Kumar Singh. We will jointly give away the check also. So first prize goes to Go Giver Recruitment Agency.
Just don't go for the check. Congratulations.
Sir, Dennis, please come for the.
Dennis?
Great.
With that, Nagaland Classified will be giving away this certificate after this. Okay, thank you so much to all the participants who are participating here offline as well as the online in different medias, Zoom as well as YouTube. Thank you to every one of you. And special thanks goes to Sir Har Kumar Singh, CEO, 1:X, and Mr. Rishabh Sethi, for your contribution and then concern about the startups and then building up the ecosystem of the startups here in Nagaland. I'd like to thank Ma'am Kenny as well, the team leader for Nagaland Startup, and even to the Directorate of Industries and Commerce for sponsoring the whole prizes that has been awarded to them. Thank you so much to the department as well as to all the concerned individuals in the department who are working with the startup Nagaland. We wish that Nagaland will have and come up with a good ecosystem with regards to startup. Special thanks also goes to our director, Sir Lanumapang, and then Sir Dananman, for initiating and then planning out all these programs one after the other. I thank the media from Eastern Mirror and then the National as well for coming and then covering this particular event. So at the end, let us give a big round of applause to everyone, all the participants. Close this TECHNOVATE 2022